Carter! Is that you?
First of all, I'm not really sure if I've actually played this exact horror game before, or if it's just the same template, preset, different game, because I'm pretty sure I haven't had an Unreal Engine 5 indie horror game before. However, Decadent over here, sitting on itch, ready to go for $1, and a full release on Steam later on in the month, as developers promised. It's a psychological story driven first-person shooter, actually, about this dude's anniversary incident, which I'm not gonna go any further. Highly recommend it, just waiting on its official release myself.
Won't you at least tell me what we're doing here? All I know is that it's serious.
It's more than serious, Una. It is dangerous.
Moving on to number 2, we have a project that basically our first and last glimpse of it goes back to more than 4 years ago. Nothing ever since, till earlier in the month, we received a gameplay for the game Unknown 9 Awakening. This might just be one of the most surprising reveals of the year, and what seems to be an action-adventure role-playing game like the Assassin's Creed games with stealth-based mechanics. However, there's also the character's superpowers. Here's a trailer. This game is coming to PCs and all consoles in the third quarter of 2024.
You've been here before, countless times, and so shall you be here again. In fact, you're here right now.
After digging every different part of every European country's background as a setting, well, the latest in line in this long list to make a Souls-like game out of its history is an Italian developer's AAA action RPG going by the name Anria. Actually, Anria Last Song. It's actually a very different approach. In Anria, players have to free actors that are forced to play scripts on this never-ending loop by defeating their enemies, and afterwards you get to take on the role of their defeated enemies by wearing their masks. It's twisted, but brave. Anyway, this game's coming out on August 21st this year.
They're combing the streets. Searching house to house.
If they arrest you two, they will take you to their headquarters, and you will not return.
If you guessed it right, I'm not gonna tell you there's a new Marvel video game in the making, going by the name Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, which is also set for a 2025 release on PCs, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X. What I'm gonna be telling you is that Rise of Hydra is heavily focusing on Captain America's part of the story alongside Black Panthers as they overcome their differences in the past to form an alliance. And if you knew all of it already, this game is also made with the use of Unreal Engine 5.
Just stick to the rooftops. Be careful, stand wasami.
When am I not? better if I tackle this one alone.
You may encounter some obstacles.
That won't be a problem.
Our cat friend is definitely here too. By the look of things, he's not very far ahead.
The American boy is right on your heels.
Who the hell are you?
If you wanted us dead, we'd be dead. So what do you want?
Answers.
That's far enough!
Stay out of my way!
Stand aside!
I do not take orders from anyone!
I don't have time for this.
Neither do I.
The same team who's making the Night Wanderer, which we mentioned in a few lists before, at number 5, we've got another AAA in the making going by the name Thorgal, which is basically an action-adventure with RPG elements based on a famous Polish comic series from almost 50 years ago. Letting players live the life of a Viking, fighting bandits, monsters, and eventually actually gods. Anyway, this game is coming to PCs in the next generation of consoles in 2025. A bit over a month ago, Industria 2 finally was surfaced in the Future Games show with a release window of 2025 into PCs exclusively. Other than what developers said, we know the new game is a dimension-crossing narrative FPS and a sequel to the 4-year-old franchise that was really well received upon release, in case you're unfamiliar. Industria 2 is made with the use of Unreal Engine 5 and promised to deliver a compelling narrative that unfolds in an alternative dimension.
Please answer. The area is not safe. I repeat, the area.
If you've been lucky enough to catch Dune's sequel, the movies in the cinema, you're highly likely already wondering about the follow-up, the third movie. And in that case, Dune Awakening might just be the thing. Although we're still waiting on a release window even, developers went on and released another trailer for it, promising much more in this particular experience. You see, Dune Awakening is an MMO survival-based building game, announced roughly 2 years ago, and it is actually a little bit like Conan Exile games.
Arrakis is a test. Few survive it. But the humans that do awaken.
I'm in the business of secrets, but it's more of an addiction.
Once a while, we actually get something pretty decent in this style that you're witnessing. And, well, what better time than now? Because Nobody Wants to Die was announced no more than a month ago and seems to be probably the next best detective noir game with a cyberpunk setting to be in the works. The story of this game is actually set in New York about 300 years into the future, where technology is advanced enough to allow consciousness to be stored in memory banks or transferred to another body. Here's how it looks.
I'll tell you what time does. Time reveals secrets. Secrets that enslave us. Secrets that poison us. Secrets that rip us apart. Secrets I'm gonna drag into the light. Or they'll
The Sinking City also has a follow-up in the work. It's a sequel, of course, going in a totally different direction from the beginning. The fine publishers of this game just announced the new entry as a story-rich, Lovecraftian survival horror, which is a pretty decent combination, open world game that's much more action oriented in nature as opposed to its first entry. Sinking City 2 is coming to PCs in the next generation of consoles early to mid 2025, and it's gonna have a Kickstarter campaign going on really soon.
What he's destined for? Those old rascals, they surely know how to name.
Black Myth Wukong is another AAA game we're counting days, if not hours, to have its release. Come to mention, developers announced an August 20 release date for it a month ago. Said it's going to be coming to PCs, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X only. You see, Black Myth is an open-ended action RPG, single-player game offering Souls-like boss fights and fighting mechanics, all in all actually in a deep Chinese mythological setting taken from the Monkey King's Tale. Anyway, Black Myth is also made with the use of Unreal Engine 5.
Sweet destiny.
If you didn't catch up with the recent word, Trono Odyssey is no longer a mobile port whatsoever. Kakao Games went on and partnered up with the Korean publishers in Pixel to bring this experience to consoles as well, next gen. Now, for those of you new, Trono Odyssey is an action MMORPG or an open-world adventure that follows the same drill as other worthy competitors, except it has time manipulation skill components and is made with the use of Unreal Engine 5 just the same. Here's how it looks.
I still can't believe you went. What are you thinking? Going to that place?
Wish you hadn't got yourself into this mess, but you did.
Still Wakes the Deep is one of the games we mentioned over and over within 2024, but once and for all, developers went on and revealed the release date of July 18 for it, on top of a new trailer too. This is actually the new work of the Amnesia game developers, horror games, made with the use of Unreal Engine 5 as well, and touted by its great team as a narrative horror adventure. Not only that, this game's actually set 50 years into the past and closely refers to the movie The Shining, except it actually takes place in the middle of the ocean.
I love you, but I won't wait forever.
Frankly, truth be told, we kind of lost count on how many new photorealistic games are in the making. Now, Silent Breath here was another one that was first announced a month ago on IGN, so it's not a scam, maybe. And what it is an atmospheric Unreal Engine 5 made horror game, fairly in the same style as the game Unrecord, but just a whole different approach and a very different setting. And yes, it does seem quite fine in design and environment, but it seems to be lacking effort in its characters. Check it out, this game is coming to only PC VR. Number 14, we have Kyborg, revealed almost a year ago to this day. Pretty sure most of you have seen it before here on the channel. Kyborg is actually an action, roguelike, story-driven game described by its developers as this mix of gore, intense combat, and an endless replay. That's a pretty bold statement, but Kyborg seems to be a time crisis-based and time-sensitive game, which does make it pretty close to what they promise. Relies heavily on your decisions. Here's a trailer. It's coming to PCs and the PlayStation consoles only, possibly by the end of 2024. Deathbound, we mentioned earlier in the month as well, was actually aired first last year and ever since getting mad attention. It's an action RPG hack and slash, definitely not Diablo however, but a third-person player with action RPG components. Now here's another trailer Publishers just released, and you'd be surprised to know that it's actually from the same team behind the famous KO series of games that were remade recently. Anyway, this thing's coming to PCs exclusively soon. Last but not least, on its way to PCs in about 2 weeks from now, although you can play its demo there on Steam. Pulls over here is another Unreal Engine 5 indie game set around the Backrooms style or idea. It's not a horror game, however, nor a thriller, but simply, as developers describe, an art gallery where you just look around and wonder. Of course, there's going to be a lot of puzzles, some really heavy ambient to accompany you along the way, on top of an almost photorealistic design. Enjoy.